So this video is going to be about my other building that was right over here in front of us off to the side of this building that I had built this year for hay storage. But I never said anything more about my building that fell down. Next month it will be 4 years ago my equipment shed fell down. So this video is going to be about what happened. It was just resolved probably about 5 months ago, so not long ago. It took 3.5 years to actually get everything resolved. So just a quick video. I'll show you some pictures and maybe some video from the old building because it has been almost 4 years next month, December 11th. So this is the new building. It's great. I like it. I have to do a little bit more floor work in here and a little bit of drainage work to keep water from seeping in the backside of the stone, but we're getting there. And it's real muddy out here. We've had a lot of rain. But so with my building that fell down over here, it was 50 by 50 with an 18-foot ceiling, free span 50 feet, and open gable ends, just so I could park equipment in there, basically a big carport. We had 3 months after it was built. The company that I had built it is Bernard Daniels out of Canfield, Ohio. They're a lumber yard. They sell all kinds of materials. Their materials, I'm sure, are fine. The way they do business is not fine. In the other part of Pennsylvania, western Pennsylvania, I have another house that I used to live in. They built a 30 by 30 garage with a 12-foot ceiling and a loft and a porch off the side. It's fine. The craftsmanship was probably like a 7 out of 10, but you know, it had all the walls and it has a concrete floor and everything, so it's still standing, no problem. But this one was much bigger and built a little different. I will say Bernard Daniels hires out a subcontractor. It was the same subcontractor that built my other garage. In this case, one of the problems were there was no bracing. As you might be able to see here, there's corner bracing that ties the posts up to the trusses. There was none of that in that building, which was one problem why we had 35 to 40 mile an hour winds one day, and 3 months after it was built, 35 to 40 mile an hour winds, the building came crashing down, and a lot of my equipment was underneath of there. 3 tractors, trailers, my mini excavator, and my brand new skid steer was under there, and other stuff was under there also. But a lot of damage. I want to say it was somewhere around $40,000 in equipment damage, which they and I had the same insurance company. So the insurance company sued the insurance company, but they ended up having to drop that because it was the same insurance company. And I guess the judge said that you can't sue yourself. So yeah, that's funny. But anyways, that insurance paid for the equipment, and that was not on me. Okay. For the building, I paid a $14,000 deposit. And what else? $14,000 deposit. And then that was it primarily. I paid the deposit after they built it. The rest was due. I want to say it was somewhere around $35,000. Yeah, it sounds right. Around $35,000. So anyways, after it fell down was where the problems began because, you know, my insurance, they said turn it into your homeowners, which we're not turning it into our homeowners, but I wanted to let our homeowners know. They sent some guy out to do an investigation, but this guy's like used to looking at shingles that blows off a roof, so he was just kind of like, oh yeah, this is beyond my capability. Anyways, they denied claim, which without doing a real investigation, which was another problem. But whatever, we dropped that insurance company. The other problem is I contacted Bernard Daniels. They were like, just turn it into your homeowners. We'll build you another one, whatever. Okay. So anyways, I'm like, well, I don't really want you building me another one. This one fell down in 3 months. And 35, 40 mile an hour winds. So anyways, I told them, let your insurance know. My insurance was telling me, tell my insurance for my equipment. They were telling me, tell them to let their insurance know so they can conduct an investigation at least, and then we can, clean up this building and get your equipment out of there. Anyways, they did nothing for 3 months. And that's the truth. They didn't do anything for 3 months. Eventually, my insurance said, okay, go ahead and you can remove the building off of your equipment and get your stuff out of there, because I'm paying on all this equipment. I have, I have loans on most of this equipment, and it's stuck under this building for 3 months, which I didn't have permission to remove. So anyways, my insurance said, okay, go ahead, remove the building, get your stuff out of there. So I had some Amish community around here came and actually removed, I think it's on YouTube 3 years ago, removed the building, got my equipment out of there, and then I had to take the equipment to different places to get the repairs done, which took a few months, but that really wasn't too bad. Okay, after that, so now the building's cleaned up. We burnt most of the stuff, was destroyed. And also we had those permacolumn posts, those concrete posts. They crumbled just with the 18-foot wall, 50-foot wide or long. The wind just, house of cards the building, and those concrete permacolumns just crumbled. And then after talking to Permacolumn, which that wasn't a Permacolumn brand, they're just, I think, called Permacolumns. There's an actual Permacolumn brand. I called them and talked to them, and they said for that size building, we actually should have been, those were 6x6. We should have been using 8x8s, I guess. That's what they said anyways, a different company. But that's besides the point. So anyways, Bernard Daniels would not do anything for me. I just asked them outside of court, give me this money, please. And, your insurance covers my equipment damages, but, give me my deposit back. As basically I'm starting over now with nothing. And I need some money. You cost me, 3 months plus the time my equipment was getting repaired, but 3 months because they did nothing. My equipment just sat under that building. And so they didn't want to do anything for me. I gave them a settlement I typed up, and it was somewhat professional, I would say. But anyways, just what I was asking for. And basically, other than my equipment damages, I was asking for right around $30,000 to cover my loss from my business that I couldn't do, and my deposit, and a couple other things. I don't know without looking at it, but it was around $30,000 I was asking them for. Okay, and they didn't want to honor that. So I had no choice but to sue them. And that is a pain. So anyways, I had to find I did have a good, my equipment insurance company actually sent an engineer out to do an investigation. So we did have a good valid report on this building, and they said it was due to the way it was built. And they had multiple facts, that knee bracing, the foundation, a couple other things. But anyways, and the drawing that Bernard Daniels uses, they use a CAD program. There was no engineering stamp or anything on this. They say that their software is engineered, like certified or whatever. It won't let you do anything. I don't know about all that. It sounds far-fetched. But anyways, whatever. So it took me a while. That's if you've never dealt with attorneys or trying to find somebody in a lawsuit, they just everybody passes you. You'll end up talking to 30 attorneys, law firms, because they just keep passing you around. So that was terrible. But anyways, I came up to this company that does construction damages and things like that. I'm not sure the actual terminology, but that's the gist of it. They're out of Pittsburgh. So I went with them. I had to, pay a retainer of $2,000 and get started. I had most of the legwork done. They just had to put it in the correct form to file the lawsuit with our local courthouse. Okay, so they did that, and this law firm, if you can, for information from here, if you can find a law firm that will just charge you a flat fee, like, okay, here's, pay this amount. If you can find that, that's the way to go, because if it's not that, they're going to nickel and dime you to death. This was 3 years. I think the actual lawsuit was a year and a half, 2 years, roughly. It took a year and a half, 2 years. But anyways, they'll file, and then, that money's gone quickly, and then they're nickel and diming you. And like they were really bad about giving me an update of what's going on or when the next court hearing is. So that was terrible, and I didn't want to ask, because anytime you email them and ask them a question, when they respond, it's not even the attorney half the time. It's their I can't even think of their secretary or whoever. I can't think of the name, I'm sorry. But anyways, it's not even the actual attorney half the time you're talking to, but they still charge you the attorney rate, so I'm getting charged for like a couple sentence email, $50 every time they email me. So I'm not even asking them for updates, because you're going to end up paying a lot of money just sending emails. And then also with that, they were emailing Bernard Daniels and the subcontractors' attorneys, and I think a lot of that's kind of just made up, like they can bill you, I think that's just built into how attorneys work. We just send a bunch of basically word salad emails and charge the who they're representing. So that kind of stinks, but not everybody probably does that, and whatever, take it for what it's worth, but that's how I felt it was going. There was just a lot of extra emails that weren't just back and forth, and they're charging me. So anyways, Bernard Daniels also sued the subcontractor, so it was a mess, and it took longer. Anyways, our local attorney, the main point of the story, eventually I have to settle, right? Or I don't know, we drag this on. It just keeps, basically that $30,000 I'm suing for, it just keeps getting reduced because I'm paying the attorney this money. So I win, but I really don't win, because I'm just paying the money to an attorney out of the lawsuit. So that's terrible. Anyways, the big problem is the judge at our local courthouse, who's, I don't know, maybe I don't know all the legal, legal details. Maybe he's not allowed to award me legal fees, but if that's the case, it's ridiculous. You got to sue people that don't want to do the right thing, correct? So you have to sue them to, hold their hand to the fire, force them to do the right thing because they won't do it on their own. So you have to sue them, or a lot of people probably just don't do anything and they lose out a bunch of money. So, and I'm not about to do that. I fight people. So, anyways, the local judge said that he wasn't going to award me legal fees. So now I have no negotiating for my settlement. I'm kind of screwed here, because without the legal fees, if the legal fees are going to be paid back to me, whatever, we'll keep going until they give me what I'm asking for. But at this point, now my legal fees are taking over my lawsuit payout. So eventually Bernard Daniels was making me some crap offers. They wanted to pay me initially. They said, how about $10,000? I have $14,000 on a deposit, so how about now? And then we kept going back and forth, and I was sticking to, I want what I asked for, $30,000 or whatever it was. So I'm like, sticking to that. That is what I want paid out. And we're just going. And if it goes all the way through the court process, I'm also going to appeal with the judge the legal fees. I think they should be paid back to me. because you have to sue these people to do the right thing. I mean, if this judge had a garage that fell down or a barn, I'm sure he's going to want his legal fees or whatever. I'm sure he would be taken care of. But anyways, that's besides the point. So eventually Bernard Daniels was making me some offers, and it was at the point where, I have to either accept an okay offer or let it keep. They're going to go back to court. They have to go back to court. It's going to cost me another couple $1,000s, and it's eating into that money. So I really need to get this settlement taken care of as soon as possible to not pay the attorneys any more money from the lawsuit. So anyways, we ended up settling at $26,000, which was close to what I was asking for, but still short. So in the end, after like $12,000 in legal fees, I basically just got my $14,000 deposit back, and the insurance fixed my equipment. So in the end, I did not win. I did not have a building until this summer, 3.5 years. So I didn't win at all. It's not a fun process. Try to avoid it at all costs. I did go with a cheaper builder. Their materials at Bernard Daniels, they seem fine. No, I'm not going to bash Bernard Daniels on their product they sell, but their pole barns and things like that, you might want to steer clear of that. After that was settled, I wait till I got paid out by them. I got paid by them, and I went on Google. I left them a negative review about what happened without slandering them at all. I didn't make anything up. It was facts, just like I'm telling you right now, the same facts. And I put pictures of my building collapsed up there. So after that, their attorney contacted my attorney, although we're done. We're not working together anymore. But my attorney did reach out to me and just say, hey, their attorney said, you left a negative review and they would like for you to take it down because we settled everything in the agreement. So I said, oh, okay, yeah, I'm not taking it down. I didn't do anything wrong. I left a review about their bad business, how they handle business. I forget what I said terminology-wise, but it was more professional. So I emailed their attorney and I said, if you can show me in the agreement what I agreed to that says that I can't leave them a negative review, not lying, not making anything up, show me in the agreement, highlight it, send it to me where I agreed not to leave a negative review about them, and I'll take it down if I, agreed to something in there like that. Never heard back from them. So that negative review still stands, and you can check it out. Bernard Daniels, Canfield, Ohio. But yeah, that's it. Also, I'm going to tag them when I post this. So if you ever go to the videos when you're searching them, just like Baker Truck Equipment, how they do crappy business down in Hurricane, West Virginia on my Chevy 6500, which I still have. That's another lawsuit and another story for another day that I will tell you about. It's going in my favor, but it's still waiting for the final payout or whatever. So more to come on that, but thanks for watching. Here's my new building. It's really nice. It worked out really good. All my hay is sold already, which is great. Snow hasn't flew yet, and the hay's all gone, and my hayfield's looking great. So thanks everybody for watching. That's the story with the business. If you have any questions about suing or any of that, or pole barns, feel free to ask. All right, thanks. See you on the next one.